Hello and welcome to today's video. Hopefully this is a relatively short one. This is a follow-up to a video I posted not too long ago, but the review was this. This is the Jinhao 10 fountain pen. Now, in the full review, I showed, like the Pilot, vanishing point or capless, which this pen is clearly modeled off. And I talk about things like, the Moon Man. I think this is the A2, which is also inspired by the same pen. And in the Jinhao review, I expressed some concerns and dislikes. And across the various platforms that that video was posted on, I got a number of people sort of like extolling the pen in such high praise, and that's wonderful. I'm so glad you had that experience with this pen. My experience was different, and I can only review the pen that I have in my hand. I ordered this from, I think it was probably AliExpress or something like that. It came to me, I reviewed the pen I have, and the faults I had, particularly with the pen drying out, and this one's not currently inked at the moment, but the issues I had with the pen drying out, like, it's a considerable issue for a pen that is designed to be carryable. You want to carry this in your pocket, you want to carry this in your pen case and just have it, they're ready to go, click, boom, away you go, and you can write. If it doesn't do that reliably, and I know I'm not the only one who experienced that. So for me, that's a fundamental fault with this pen, and I don't find that with the Pilot, and I don't find that with the Moon Man. This Moon Man option, which is a lot lighter weight as well because it's made of plastic, this is a really interesting pen and a pen I enjoy a lot. I've often thought about getting a second one of these literally for everyday sort of carry. I think it's a really nice option. But what I thought I would do, because everyone loves this pen so much, is I bought a second one. This is another Jinhao 10, and this was the coffee gradient that kind of went berserk when it came up online. Like, everyone was buying them. It was all over Reddit. It was all over Instagram. People kind of went nuts for it, and I get it. It's a beautiful finish. It's very similar to some of those ombre coffee sort of style finishes that Schaefer have done recently, and I'd love to review the Schaefer 100 in this finish. I've not reviewed a whole lot of Schaefers, and it's a brand I generally think is somewhat underrated. Not perfect, but a little underrated. But this pen, the Jinhao 10, I thought today what I would do is a quick follow-up review with my second one. Now, I will say this one is better than this one. But what I have done, to give it a fair sort of chance to show what it's capable of, I have left this inked up, closed, like with the nib in, for I think it's been about a week, because I wanted to see if it would write. So that's what we're going to do today. That's the main thing of this video. You can watch my previous review, and I'll link it below for the full review of this pen and of this pen model, I should say, using the all black version, where I go into the specs and the pros and cons and all that. But today really is about the writing. So here we go. Let's see. After a week of not being used, not having the nib out, anything like that, let's see if it writes. Okay, so what this little writing sample here shows is the problem with this pen model. It took sort of halfway through coffee there for the pen to be writing reliably. Now, I will say, the original Jinhao I reviewed, the Jinhao 10, you could leave this for a couple of hours and you get that. The Pilot, though, you can leave like this for weeks on end. Go to write with it, and it will write perfectly. That is the beauty of the Pilot, and why Pilot, the precision of Pilot, is where you get your value, right? So this pen in Australia retails for about $310, whereas these ones retail for between 20 and 25 realistically, and 30. So it's a much less expensive pen. But after a week, 5 days to a week, that's what you're getting. Now, that's fine. You can just sort of do a little scribble. Oh, there you go. Just edit it out for just a couple of seconds, like a sort of a bit of a hard start there again. It's better than the previous one. As I said, the previous one would dry out after a couple of hours. This one, like, I have picked this up occasionally after a day and it writes okay. Give it a few days and we start to see the issue of the drying out. And I will say, Jinhao isn't the only brand that you get this from. There's a range of brands right through to higher end pens that dry out. My Stipula Etruria dries out in the same sort of way. Lamy Safaris dry out in the same sort of way. Although, I found a Lamy Safari in the bottom of my work bag, and it must have been there for maybe 2 months, and it wrote first time. I'm not slamming the Jinhao here. What I am saying is that it is not a perfect pen. It wasn't just the one I had. It is a problem with the pen model, and it is something that they are going to have to rectify if they want this model, bizarrely, to continue to be made. Moonman got it better. Jinhao here, and I am sure there is a massive crossover in who manufactures parts here. Obviously, we see this with a lot of the Chinese pens. One brand makes parts for another brand, which makes parts for another brand, and it's all sort of like that. And they're both copying the same original pen. But it wasn't just that original one. This is an issue with the pen. I should also say this is the same ink I used in my original review of the Jinhao. I wanted to give it a fair shot here. So yes, this is what we see. Just is what it is. That's my follow-up. So thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, hit the notifications button, all that kind of stuff. If you've got products you'd like me to look at, I'd love to hear from you. But in the meantime, enjoy your pens, enjoy writing when they write, and I'll talk to you soon.